Senate President shuts down opposition bid to bring PM before Committee of Privileges. A bid by the opposition and independent Senator Anthony Vieira to put Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar before the Committee of Privileges was shut down by Senate President Wade Mark on Tuesday. Mark ruled that having carefully studied two correspondences received from opposition leader of government business Dr. Amory Brown and Vieira, seeking to raise two matters of privilege, he was convinced that neither of the two submissions meets the threshold to be raised as a matter of privilege. The background: PM's brown-nosers and bootlickers remarks. The matters of privilege arose from Persad-Bissessar's statements last month that independent senators were brown-nosers and bootlickers and had been appointed by a president who was a low-level PNM functionary. The PM's remarks were made ahead of debate in the Senate of the government's Zones of Special Operations, ZOSO, Bill 2026, which then flopped in the Senate. The ZOSO exercise was intended to replace the state of emergency, which ended on January 31st. However, 8 independent senators voted against, 1 abstained, and 6 opposition senators also voted against. Persad-Bissessar had said she did not regret her remarks and that independent senators proved her right. She then claimed that 2 independents had sought inducements in the form of personal favors in exchange for their support of the ZOSO bill. The PM was hit with calls to name the senators and take the matter to the Police, DPP, and Integrity Commission. Persad-Bissessar has since said she would not name the senators. Brown's submission. The matter of privilege as submitted by Brown cited allegations against 2 members of the independent bench in the Senate concerning seeking personal favors in exchange for support of the law reform, Zones of Special Operations, Bill 2026. Brown said the Prime Minister has made serious, reckless, and unsubstantiated allegations against senators of the independent bench. He said these statements, which arose before, during, and following debate of the ZOSO Bill 2026, have brought the Senate, and by extension the Parliament, into serious odium and disrepute. Following the defeat of the bill in the Senate, the Prime Minister publicly accused 2 independent senators of approaching a senior government senator seeking personal favors in exchange for their support and publicly suggested that these requests explained the failure of the legislation. The Prime Minister further publicly stated that they know who they are and publicly accused unnamed senators of acting out of self-interest and privilege, Brown stated. He said this accusation followed an earlier public assertion by the Prime Minister before the debate began in the Senate, when she launched a scathing public attack on the independent bench, referring to its members as bootlickers and brown-nosers. Additional statements cited. Brown said during the period of the debate the Prime Minister also used the following language to publicly refer to senators: they just use their position to engage in self-promotion, self-congratulation, and as a stepping stone for personal business opportunities outside of Parliament. He said these comments and reflections by the Prime Minister on senators in the discourse of their parliamentary duties were widely carried in all 3 national newspapers. Brown stated that this was a gross contempt of Parliament for any person to attempt to compel senators by force to vote for or against any proposition that is before the Senate or which is expected to be brought before the Senate. In the same vein, it is a breach of privilege to bribe a senator to influence their conduct in voting or promoting any bill or resolution that is pending or before the Senate, he said. Opposition's case. The opposition submitted that the PM has brought the Senate and its members into odium and disrepute, contrary to the purpose and spirit of parliamentary privilege, and has imputed corrupt motives to members of Parliament without due process. Brown submitted that a prima facie case of breach of privilege and contempt of Parliament has been made out against the Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for Siparia. The opposition also submitted a request that this matter be referred to the Committee of Privileges for investigation and determination. Vieira's submission. Vieira also submitted that the PM's remarks had cast aspersions on the independent bench and brought the Senate into odium and disrepute. He stated that, at the very least, particulars should have been provided, including who allegedly made the request, when and where it was made, to whom it was made, and what was sought. Regrettably, none of this has occurred. Instead, an unparticularized allegation has been allowed to circulate publicly, the independent senator submitted. He said as a result, a continuing stain now rests on the independent bench and, by extension, on this Senate as an institution. Vieira opined that this position will persist unless the matter is clarified through proper parliamentary procedure or lawful investigative process. He said in any lawful system, the person who makes an allegation bears the responsibility to identify the alleged wrongdoer and submit the matter to the appropriate authorities. Call for accountability. Calling on unnamed persons to confess repudiates this principle entirely, Vieira submitted, adding, "We deal in facts and evidence. No one is above the law. If any independent senator has acted improperly, that senator must be held to account." Equally, if the allegation has been misstated or is without foundation, that too must be addressed, he said. Vieira stated that unsupported claims of this nature are egregiously wrong and risk poisoning the well of public opinion against Parliament itself. He said the matter has assumed an international dimension, appearing in regional and foreign media. It is therefore essential that this Parliament act decisively to protect its dignity, uphold the rule of law, and safeguard the rights and privileges of its members, he stated. Further to Standing Order 30, Vieira moved that the matter be referred to the Committee of Privileges for investigation and report.